Deze is hartstikke oud en Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. How's everyone doing? I hope you guys are doing great. And let's go and let's do this. How you doing, Alex?
Doing all right, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had myself a fun little weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. I got a chance to, I'm going to ask you. I was going to ask you about this. I didn't know if you knew anything about this. So, do you know what a diaper party is?
Oh, God. Yeah, I've heard about these things.
Okay, so you've heard about them.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I actually had two of them that I was invited to in Minnesota the same weekend. So I got two buddies. Their wives are gonna have kids
Right.
like in the next couple weeks, right?
Right.
So I mean they were cutting it close, but all right, so it's cool. So my buddy Troy Sexton, he's a sport karate guy, so some people know who he is.
Yep.
His wife Katie, she's due here in just a few weeks.
Oh wow!
And then
Congrats.
yeah, for real. Congratulations, Troy and Katie. And then my buddy Chris Lingassen, check this one out, homie. He's got a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old, and now he's gonna have a new one.
Oh my God! Oh man! What's up, Kyle?
And he's got two boys, and then now he's gonna have a girl, and he's freaking out, asking me for advice because I have a daughter. I'm like, homie, you have a 20-year-old
and a
14-year-old.
14-year-old, yeah.
And you're asking me for advice. I don't know about girls, man. I don't know. And I'm like, it's actually a lot easier. A lot easier. There's just more tears. But other than that, it's a lot easier. So, but then, so listen, this one's actually funny. So I'm driving on Friday. I'm just driving up. The drive up is always easy, right? It's just like going to a tournament. The drive there is easy. The drive back makes you want to shoot yourself, right? So driving there, of course, you make great time on the way there. Right. Yeah. So I'm driving, call him. Hey, buddy, what's happening? What's the plan for the diaper party tomorrow? And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, what's the plan for the diaper party? You and I say, guys, you're going to do this. This is the weekend. This is the day, Saturday. He says, I don't know. I'm just going to be painting the nursery. And I knew it. And I go, you didn't tell anybody else, did you? He says, no, I guess I forgot. And I said, so it's just going to be you and I painting your nursery. He says, yeah, I guess. So, all right, whatever, man. All right, so it's cool. So, yeah, I got a chance to hang out with some buddies, and we had a great time.
That's cool, man. That's good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I just had a busy weekend with family and stuff, and was a good time, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's just been, again, a busy week at the school. Lots of new students, lots of new things going on, getting prepared for getting students registered and prepared for their first tournament ever. So that's exciting, you know, and a little stressful as an instructor, you know, just feel, you know, like, well, what do we do? You know, they have no clue, you know, and that's something that's interesting, like, right? It's like, okay, well, you do forms and fighting. And they're like, what's that? Like, you know, like your kata that you do. Oh, okay. Kata. Okay. I know what that is, or Taioku, or, you know, whatever they call it, you know, it's different. You know, we all have to remember it's not just because we've done it for so long, it's just simple to us. And even when we go to some of these local tournaments, we're like, man, this is such a simple registration. It's still not for new people. So, so it's really, really exciting. Yeah, I'm working on it. We have two tournaments in Virginia, Kyle, that are coming up. So we're focusing on getting everybody there. But I'm working on getting down to Columbia in, I guess, next week. So
you sound like you're a little stressed.
Yeah, so it's a lot going on with that. Trying to get everybody ready for that. We do camps. We're just busy, man. So it's exciting, and just teaching. And then we have belt test this weekend. So always something going on, man.
It's kind of like one of those. You end up in one of those days where like you're going even just 5 minutes after you wake up, you're brushing your teeth, and the battery on your toothbrush goes out, and now you're brushing your teeth without an electric toothbrush like a barbarian.
Yeah.
And then you go to leave the house, your garage door won't shut. You get your foot caught in the door, and then by the end of it, you feel like, man, if I'm lucky enough to make it to 80 years old, the same stuff's gonna happen. One of the tennis balls in the bottom of your walker is gonna fall out.
Right.
You just feel like it's just the same thing no matter what.
That's kind of what my 2 weeks have been like, especially at my apartment here. You know, like my washer was leaking, so every day I came home, I would step in a puddle of water. I stepped in a puddle of water.
Oh, that's a great day.
In the morning. And then when I came home afterwards, and it wasn't even when it was running, you know. So yeah, you know. Then after they came and got me a new washer, the next day my toilet was messed up. So you know how it is, man. But it's all good now. We're back rolling and doing well. So all right, man. So it's been even since Monday, since CTE, there's been a lot of new news, you know, like in the sport karate world. Let's go ahead and get into the controversial one, kind of. The NASCA put out a news blast about what they're going to do, their prize money. What do you think, man? What do you let's be honest here and let's explain what
I mean, I could see it. Here's the thing. I could see it both ways. I like to look at things on both sides of the
exactly. Me too.
And I could see it from behind the scenes spectrum.
Yep.
Of how can I afford to shell out the same kind of prize money, knowing that I'm going to have a fraction of the amount of entries, right? I just won't have the capital to be able to do that, right? So I get that part of it. Now you want to go and look at it in good faith and go, get that. And then maybe next year it'll go up. But I think the cynic in me realizes this is never going to go up.
Right.
This is going to stay this way indefinitely.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the thing.
And it'll become an option.
Correct. That was kind of the thing. Like,
been through that.
Like each tournament wants to be a NASCA tournament, but it's understood. Like, okay, you understand. If you want an NASCA tournament, you have to give this prize money.
Right.
You have to. It's not an option. For your women's overall forms, you have to give this. For your men's weapons, you have to give this. That's just kind of what it is. Whatever it is, you have to give this. If you decide that you want to give above and beyond that, that's on you.
Right.
So, but you never saw anybody giving out $1,500 for an overall win. You know?
Well, some people were.
Well, at the vast majority, the last few years, right? For your overall win, if it was like your forms, you're fighting overall winner.
Well, no, I know what you mean. I'm just saying, but some people would add extra onto it, like Pan Am's would give an extra 500 for the overall, so they would have the lightweight overall and the heavyweight overall.
Okay, yes, I see what you're talking about with that. Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah, but again,
I think is the best. I
think that is cool, and I understand, and I saw it this way too. If they ever got the opportunity to lower it. Because really, in some ways, it was too high. And not meaning too high in individually, people aren't getting paid enough. But overall, because, you could say, man, we've been getting paid $1,000 since the 80s, you know. But there was only $3,000 or $4,000, okay? There was a forms grand, there was a weapons grand, there was a women's, and then there was a men's. And that was it. You know what I mean? As far as that. So, they've been given that, but they've added on tons of grand since then. So that's kind of where, the money, actually, they're spending more money than they ever have, but they're giving out to an individual person less than they ever have.
And that's kind of what we've talked about as far as like the trophy thing as well. Like there's a stupid amount of trophies, like just ridiculous. Why are there so many trophies? Right. And I don't want to sound like a cynic because, part of me is like, all right, when I was a kid, I held on to everything I had, and you can have like, but you almost had it like, this reminds me of the tournament I was at, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember it because I was like 11 years old, so I was old enough to remember. But for most of the kids that were wanting to give all these trophies to, they're not even that old, right? All right. So when you're giving a 5-year-old, okay, my daughter's 4. My daughter's not going to know what the heck she got a trophy for.
Correct.
She's not going to know what it was. My brother was, what was he, 6, 7, 6? When he did his first tournament, he doesn't know what the heck that division was. He doesn't know what he did. All right. He was 6. All right. Guaranteed he has no clue what it was. The only way is if I told him because I remember what it was. You know what I mean?
Well, if you keep it forever, like for me, it's like I still have the plaque. It was probably like a finalist from like my first tournament. You know what I mean? Like I just have it. Do I really know what place I got? No, but it was still a keepsake for me, you know?
Right, but it was good that you had something as a memento from this.
Yeah,
so I remember it was,
exactly.
who was it? It was probably John Worley. I always, when he decides to come out with something new, I always think he's nuts. And then I end up agreeing with him later.
Of course, he's a genius, dude. That guy's super smart.
I know.
That's still one of my favorite interviews. I learned so much during that interview. If you guys
I learned a lot, and I'd already spent like 30 years with the guy.
Right. If you guys haven't listened to that one, go back into the archives and listen to the John Worley.
That really was one of the
interview.
Best
It was great.
That was pretty dang good. But what is Kyle? Doesn't think it's a good
I don't
idea
think it's a good
it?
look to lower the grand's money and ask your terms. Exactly. As a look, it's not. And that's kind of where no, it's not. And that's where, you know, they kind of pigeonholed themselves you know, on some of that. But actually they actually have lowered it for a while.
They've been lowering it.
Because they were actually giving away runner-up money for a little bit. You know what I mean? Now on this, they don't have any runner-up money on there.
Right.
So there's a lot of that. You know, they used to give $100 to every first place black belt first place winner.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was great. I loved that.
I thought that was really good.
That was good. And then you did the big overall, and then you don't have to divide it up so much. You know,
correct.
Everyone gets it, and and exactly when you start letting people win multiple divisions, they can win their multiple divisions, win all that extra money for it, and then win the overall. So really, you have someone like a Jackson that wins 3 or 4 weapons division. He gets $400. Then he wins the overall. That's $1,400. That's still actually better than probably what he was getting, you know, for the other. So
but like even then, when you had the divisional winner winning $100, you would get guys who feel like, listen, I don't know if I probably can't win the overall, but I can win my division.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There
like,
we go. Exactly.
I don't know if I could beat the overall, or I don't know if this person shows up. I don't know if I can win, but I can win my division.
Well, and at least it feels like when you go and you do something, you get rewarded for it.
Correct. Right.
And it's not necessarily that we don't want you to go after the overall. No, we do. But you still feel like, hey, my division's paid for, you know. And now you see some way to work your way up, you know, and you get that grand, you get that next thing, you know. So so I don't know. Yeah, Kyle, yeah, that was always a cool thing. Doug Armstrong gave tournament t-shirts for your competitor bands. That was awesome. The tournament.
Well, that's what I wanted to touch on. I kind of got derailed. So when I was talking about what John Worley did, he said, you know what I think we should do is we should have a participation trophy. And I went, ooh, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. And he said, no, we're not going to give the trophy away. Trophies are just going to be there. And if they want them, they can grab them. And I thought, this is an even worse idea. He says, no, it's not going to have a place on there. It's as a memento. So now we're not going to give out like 4th place or something like that. We're not going to give out any finalists. So for those people, if they want an extra trophy, because they didn't actually win one or earn one, you can have this thing. Okay. And now I think that's actually kind of a cool idea. You know what I mean? Especially if it's like limit 1 per person. Because if you wanted to be like, I went to the Battle of Atlanta on X year, you know, and you want to be like, man, I wish I had something to remember this tournament from.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you bring your kid there.
Like a tournament t-shirt's cool. Something else that Doug used to do was he would go to a local like physical therapy place and say, hey, I'm gonna, if you're with me, I will make water bottles with your logo on it and my logo for the tournament. And so every year you got a water bottle from his tournament for coming, which was
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
So you had a little collection and stuff. So there was always things like that. They were good, And I always try to do something as well like that. I never got to that point. It's hard to get the sponsors sometimes to do that, but
so that could be something that was good, But I mean, I feel like with the prize money thing, if we're trying to if you want to look at the positive, if you want to spin it and go, all right, are we going in the right direction? If you're trying to change the culture to be like, all right, it's not all about the money, it's about the competition.
Yeah.
This is not a good time to do that then.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like that's what this is about. It looks like this is all about the money. Right?
Yeah.
And if
especially
it was, you would say, let's take away from all of these overalls. Let's just put it into this thing or into this thing. Now we're not taking money away from you. You got to go get it.
There's that. I kind of think going back to first, second, third place type money. You know what I mean? Like for the grands, you have that. Those top three, and even if it's less, you're actually still There's just ways to divide it out better. I feel like there are going to be a way for people to kind of work their way up. Yes. So I do think. So let's see how to say this. I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought here on that. But as far as the money goes, I kind of saw it coming. I just know that when you have a minimum and you say this is the minimum that you're going to give, a lot of the tournaments, especially that are new or just don't have the confidence in doing it, will say, all right, I'm going to give the minimum. Whatever, that's just what it is. And that happened, we saw that with the NBL. They would do, okay, well, the minimum for a female is 300. Doesn't mean that's all you have to give, but this is just a minimum, and they would do that. This is just the minimum. And then you could go up, me and a couple others would go up a lot, like really high, and other ones wouldn't. And so it just really just made it like people came to my tournament, but not to others. And so it really didn't help the league. You know what I mean? But doing
it was kind of funny though. It's like I think NASCA had that for a few divisions that was kind of funny. I'll never forget. Well, we had Mike Conroy on talking about it, where it was the
teams. It was optional, which is now what it is now for team fighting and open weight. It's optional for the promoter. So I remember one year everyone entered at DC at Capital Classics for open weight. He said, "Oh, there's no money for it." After they already did it, because it's not whatever. So that happened. At US Open, they were going to give $300. Then they upped it to 500. Then they upped it to 750. Right after the fact.
Correct. So then when they say it's $300, but the reason why that was so shocking was because almost every tournament that year had gone I don't know, it was like 500 or more. It was like 500 to 1,000, something like that.
It was more than that, yeah. I mean,
So then you're like, what do you mean 300? And we didn't understand the rule. We thought the rule was it was like 500 or something was like the bare minimum, 500 or 600. And it was like, no, it's 300.
Yeah.
Right. And so then you're like, well, this is the U.S. freaking Open.
Yeah.
You've got 40 teams here, charging $200 a team. What are we talking about?
Correct. Well, Andrew, you say it again. Yeah, they need to bring back the divisional prize money. We talked about that. But I think if they bring that back, so if they do that now, they have way more divisions than they did then when they were doing this, right? So if they added that, that would probably be more than the prize money that they have now. So I think they need to do that and then take away some grands. Like, honestly, Andrew,
I'd be okay with that.
Any of the seniors would probably be okay not even having a grands for seniors if they got the prize money for winning their division. I know I would, because I would try to look at, right now it's $300. They just brought it down to 200. So if I won 3 divisions, that's more than what I would get for winning the grand, right? That's more than, and they're not even doing a runner up anymore where they were given 100 for it. So I think there's ways to do it. It's give that for a while, right?
And Kyle, I think you're right. There's so many different creative ways where they can really adjust this stuff. It's not just about the numbers. You know, if you think back, if you remember, oh geez, it's got to be 10, 11 years ago now when Jason Chen was giving out the custom ASG gloves for the divisional winners.
Right.
So what would that cost? What would that cost the promoter?
The promoter. It was about
not $100, right?
Well, no. It's obviously not $100, but
right.
But yeah, that's what you're saying. It's about $25, $30, depending on.
I think it was like $30, right? Yeah. 27 maybe is what it was. I think that's
for custom. It might. Yeah, you're right.
Something like that. If you got a big amount, that's what he would charge. Yeah. Something like that. All right. Well, right. And so having more sponsors, Kyle, I think that's right on as well, because there's different and creative ways where you can do that. It is very time consuming. It is very hard to do, especially when you're a tournament promoter and you're one guy pulling all the strings, spinning all the plates. Yeah. It's hard. This stuff falls. Those plates fall eventually, right? I get it. But
getting sponsors depend. A lot of these guys, right, that have these tournaments now, they're actually, a lot of them aren't in their hometown because their tournament outgrew their area, which is what I did. It got really harder for me to get sponsors when I moved to a bigger town where I wasn't from, where my school wasn't at, where, I didn't know the local businesses. When I was in my hometown, it was easy to get sponsors because I could even get just tons of little sponsors that built up to create something big because it was local. I knew how to get them. I didn't even have to go and get them. All my students went and got them, and there was ways to do that. And so I think some of that is what we see right now. And again, you can get all the company sponsors you want. They're not giving that much money. They are giving free stuff. They are giving different things like that. So, which is nice, and it helps bring more people to your tournament, but it's still not the same as cash, right? So it is a little different.
Some of that stuff could be good. Imagine if, let's just say you got, I don't know, a local sandwich shop to cater your event. Imagine that. Because I'm going to tell you, I started thinking about tournaments this weekend. So
I agree, Andrew. Just on your comment.
There's a UFC fight. What was he saying? Senior grants is relatively new, 2005. That's true. With divisional prize money, I don't think too many seniors would mind getting rid of the grands if there was an incentive within the divisions. I think he's absolutely right.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of
if you got to go for the regular one like you used to.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we right back where we were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. So I was thinking about like being at tournaments because I was at a buddy's house on Saturday, and we were watching the UFC fight card, which was a fantastic card. Oh wow, that was great. So many crazy endings, broken arms, just
I can't stand that.
Women just standing there getting smashed in the face without one little head movement, which is ridiculous. All sorts of things, right? It was just fantastic. So a buddy of mine throws a fantastic party anytime, and he's like, "Hey, I ordered some pizza," and I get there and it's Domino's, and I immediately just went like, "Ugh." I thought, because not that I don't like Domino's, it's the moment I saw the box, I thought about being in a hotel lobby of a karate tournament. It is literally the only time I see or eat Domino's pizza, and it is not only is it the only time I would ever eat it, it's the only thing I ever eat when I'm at a tournament.
It's true.
I don't understand it. Like I was talking to Sam Gagnon about like when we were at a tournament one time. He goes, "Man, every time I go to a tournament, I gain like 5 pounds." And I'm like, I lose like 5 or 6 pounds because I never want to eat all that trash, right?
Correct.
So,
and it's also that's all you eat. So really, like you starve yourself the whole weekend, and then you may get something. It kind of. Yeah.
You really eat like 2 times the whole weekend.
Yeah.
You eat, if you can, Friday night at like 11:45 at night, all right? Yeah. And you eat, if you can, it's normally Domino's pizza, all right, at like 11:45 at night. That's all you eat.
Yep.
And then you're like, hurry up, get me to the airport so I can get some cheap, home like airport sandwich that's gonna cost me $13.50.
Oh, that's the worst.
It is absolutely the worst, and it's like the tuna melt's the only one that looks decently appetizing, and you can't finish that. So I was thinking about it, and I'm like, man, all right, I'll eat it. It's good, but looking at it, I kind of want to close my eyes as I'm eating it because I just feel like I'm at this tournament hotel lobby again. Like,
Right.
And so I just think about that. So like we were talking about sponsors, right? So let's say we get this local sandwich shop sponsors it. And people are like, oh, heck yeah, where's this place? This place is just like 3 blocks away, right?
Yes.
And they sponsor that. Heck yeah. Because sometimes we feel trapped.
Yeah.
Oh, we are trapped.
Right.
At a tournament. But if there was a really cool sandwich spot 3 blocks away, we knew that going into it, we would plan ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that there's lots of ways to do it. I know for me, I got Chick-fil-A to sponsor my judges one year where they took care of all of the they gave me all of the sandwiches and the lunch for my judges for free, and then they set up and they got everything themselves, so I didn't have to, nothing came out of pocket for me, and that was a good way to do it, and that's what I suggest a lot of people to do. And some people of course can say, all right, if you set up, I'll give you a percentage of my earning. That's fine, but it's going to cost me just as much to pay. I mean, to feed all my staff, right? So it'll probably be more, but that's one of the better ways to do it. So as far as the tip there, Chick-fil-A's want to do that. Local sandwich shops want to do that. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, night shows need to be shorter. One year we had a cheesecake food truck that did that. So there's people that want to do that type of stuff,
Food trucks in general.
What'd you say?
Food trucks in general. If you just had a few food trucks just park outside.
Yeah. See, that was supposed to happen the last year I had my tournament, and the hotel didn't really
No, of course the hotel didn't want you to do that.
Well, no, it was different because I found out a week before my tournament that the hotel closed down the restaurant. So, that was the big thing, was that there was a Denny's at the restaurant, I mean, at the hotel for all the years. So we always had a place to eat.
Anyway, people go to Denny's. I feel like people just end up at Denny's.
Well, yeah.
They just end up at Denny's.
You could get beer at Denny's. You get, what was that crazy drink? Four Locos. You ever heard of that? Four Locos?
I have no clue.
It's like an alcoholic energy drink.
Oh, I'm good with that one.
Yeah, I don't mess with any of that stuff, but it was just the weirdest thing, like seeing that at a Denny's. Like, wait, what?
Yo, I'm curious. Mike chimed in and he said, "Yeah, Domino's is trash. You live in the Chicagoland area." Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. However, I love pizza so much. All right. Look at Jim's right. Yeah, it's trash no matter where you live. Exactly. So I eat pizza. It sounds excessive, but I promise it's the truth. I eat pizza at minimum once a week. Right.
All right.
So
yeah, I kind of end up doing it. It's
I love this pizza. Mike, what is your go-to pizza? I bet he's gonna say Gino's East. He's gonna say Gino's. I know it.
All right. Explain yours, and then Mike will do it in the comments. Go.
Oh, mine is. It's not. It's Lou Malnati's or it's Danny's on Douglas. That's what it is. But I bet Mike's gonna say it's Gino's. That's what he's gonna say.
Okay. Well, anyways, like what we're saying here, tournaments need sponsors, and there's a lot of ways to do it. I think one suggestion is to hire someone to be your sponsor person, to go out and collect sponsors and give them a percentage of the sponsorships they get. So
that's an internship type job.
Exactly. That's an easy type thing for them to go out and do it.
What did he say?
All right. I don't know. Shit. Stop downing businesses that help. I don't know what my mom's talking about, but I think what she's saying. But Pequod, what is that?
Pequod. I don't know what that is, Mike.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah. Everybody loves Lou Malnati's. You can get a Lou Malnati's pizza anywhere. You can have it delivered to you. It comes in like dry ice. Oh man, it's fantastic.
That's not the one that you can get on Amazon, is it? What's the one you can get on Amazon? You told me.
I think you can get a Lou Malnati's pizza on Amazon.
Okay, I remember us talking about that.
I would do it. The Lou's
Yeah.
from Lou Malnati's is the best.
Right.
Anybody listening, if you've never had a Lou Malnati's pizza before, go ahead and do that right now. You can get the Lou's. And then next week, chime in and let me know what it was like.
But the other thing again is make it a school thing. If you have a tournament, make it a school thing for your team to, if you have a finals, if you have something going on, what we would always do would be if the students brought in $300 worth of sponsorship, they would get I think we would do a free finals table for them, right? Something like that. Or no, actually, if they did $300 sponsorship, they would get their first division free, something like that, just to kind of take off a little bit, right?
Oh, I think that's
then
fantastic.
if they brought in like $500, they would get a free tournament. It's been a while since we've done a free tournament finals table, right? Something like that, just to make it a fun thing for them. It would help them out, but it was helping us as well. Make it almost like fundraising. You know what I mean? And that's the way you need to do it. If you have a good tournament, you need to get your school involved as well. And they need to you got to help them take ownership in it as well. That it's not just my thing or your thing. It is our thing. And when people come in, they need to know that this is what represents Grand Slam, the school as well as the tournament, that it all represents us. So we all have to take ownership on it. So
Word.
But all right, let's see, what's the next topic? I have some. So I meant to talk about last week, but there was the Sport Karate Museum had every year they do like a Legends event and a roast. They roast somebody, and they're doing another one in October sometime. But Gary Lee puts it on, and so I've been a part of it before. And he has it's called the Sport Karate Museum, right? And so he has people come in. I think my Team Elite uniform there in the museum. And I have a pair of my Kamas there in the museum. They have all kinds of cool stuff. They have Chuck Norris's black belt. They have the black belt that's been passed down.
Wow.
From like Alan Steen to, all kinds of stuff. It's really cool. And some of the things and the mementos and stuff that they had there. But they also do something that they started, I guess, about 4 or 5 years ago called Kata Wars. And what they just did was they were having all these people there.
Yeah, I was hearing about this.
And they have just some of the people that are legends competing against new people, against other people. And, so this year they had like 35 adult black belt forms competitors compete in one division. It's just one open division, right? And, it ended up being pretty fun. They live streamed it. I think you can go back and watch it on Gary Lee's page. I think it ended up being a tie with Ramel Gargolas and another girl. I don't know her name, but she ended up winning, and she was from Dallas. Now, again, it's a lot of majority Texas people, but there was people from all over. I know Richard Osborne's dad was there, and he competed. And, he's like, I don't know, in his 60s, and he was competing.
Wow.
J-Dog competed. Jason Holmes competed in forms there. It's just a lot.
I've never seen him do forms.
Yeah, he won an NBL world title in Kempo before. I know he did forms as a junior, but he's one of the top people with in Kempo in America.
And I wanted to fight him more.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So that was something cool just to see. I like to see those type of events. You know what I mean? Why not do?
Oh, I think that sounds fantastic.
Especially for something local, do an all underbelt or an all junior event, and then just have an open forms division and an open fighting division. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and just do it as a way to highlight them and still, make it fun, as well.
Now, did you say that they roast somebody each year?
Yeah, so every year they have someone that they honor, right? And then they do a roast. And
who was that person?
I'm not sure who it was this year. I think it was Al Garza, actually. I think it was Al Garza. And Al Garza is the one that used to run the Texas Challenge, which was the NASCA event down there. They've done my instructor before. They actually brought it to Lynchburg and did it. They roasted Lawrence Arthur before. They've roasted Chuck Norris, I believe. they've
roasted Chuck Norris is the unroastable person.
Right.
You can't roast Chuck Norris. The dude's got a laundry list of things that make him untouchable, right? He's the Paul Bunyan of martial arts. You can't roast Chuck Norris.
I like that. The Paul
Bunyan. Is he not? When you
right.
say Chuck Norris's tears can cure cancer, but Chuck Norris has never cried, right?
Yeah.
You go, all right. There's just tons of them like that. You can't roast a man like that.
Jim just said he just went to Amazon. 2 Lou Malnati's pizzas are $70. He said better be good.
They're good.
Well, especially if you're going to get them,
Promise. You got to get them deep dish though, man. Why would you get something different? If you're getting pizza that's not deep dish,
we don't know what we're doing. So, well, it's different. Anyways, yeah, so that event's going on. So I think it's cool that we have something like that, Sport Karate Museum. I hope that we can continue to work with those guys and make this,
what's some things that should be in the Sport Karate Museum that aren't in there?
So I'm just going to say there's a lot of Texas stuff, because everything's Texas. So I think there's some people that maybe they don't know as well that are high level that need, we need some more stuff from Billy Blanks. We need some more things from Boston Taekwondo, we need maybe a diamond ring in there. Someone's diamond ring, Nikki has enough. She could give one away. That would be cool.
I mean, Keith Vitale's is really the one you got to think of.
Right.
Because his is the first.
Correct. And it still boggles my mind that he didn't get into the Hall of Fame until 2002. Still drives me crazy. But anyways, that was just something, I think there's some things like that. What was really cool, Steve Muhammad was actually there. Steve Muhammad was, I think I have that right. He was the one who created the Black Karate Kempo Foundation in California, right? So he had the top fighters in California at Ed Parker's and everything. He was training all those guys. I believe he trained Ray Wizard and a lot of those guys that competed at Ed Parker's, and many of his students won that tournament. So he was there. There was all kinds of people. From what I heard, it was one of their biggest ones they ever had. And that's something that I kind of boggles my mind a little bit. Just kind of all right, I'm hearing that all these people, when Richard Osborne came on, he said all of our tournaments are having the most people we've ever had, right? We're hearing all of this. All these people's tournaments are growing. And yes, they're regional tournaments, but still they're growing. So now that's the excuse that the prize money went down because the tournaments are going to be lower. But everyone else's tournaments are getting bigger. Now I get that, yes.
It's relative.
Canada's not going to come in. Bigger. Right.
It's going to go like that.
Right. But again, there didn't used to be that many people. There was a good amount from Canada, but in the 90s and 80s, there wasn't huge numbers from Canada that they are now. Okay. Right. It was an American event. Again, we can boost it nationally and then make it big again,
Which is really, I gotta be honest, I feel for the Canadians big time.
Oh, yeah. Right now, it's awful for them.
I don't think I'd want to go to an event in Canada if I was in Canada.
Well, they're not. They're not allowed to even walk out their house. Okay.
Right. So, but I mean, even before the COVID stuff, right? Because it was starting to turn into like the boxing commission was taken over. So then you're like, I don't even want to be involved in that.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess I'll just hop across the border and go wherever I got to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the thing a year or two ago was Canadians putting on tournaments in Buffalo or Niagara Falls because they didn't want to have them there or they couldn't have them there. So,
right.
So, yeah, so now you add even more craziness to it. So, yeah, it's tough right now. But, yeah, Andrew was saying barely any Canadians in the early 90s. And it's true. The tournaments were not that international. They were just huge with national competitors from all over. And I think we can get back to that. And then when we get back to some type of, within 2 years when people are able to move around and have the funds to do that again, we're going to get real international competition and big ones, better than ever. So, I mean, right now people are putting on tournaments that haven't done tournaments in years. my instructor, like I said, he's having a tournament. He hasn't had a tournament since 1992. Okay. And he's putting on a tournament, and he's going to have a big tournament.
Wait a minute.
He has people coming from all over.
I got to hear that again. He hasn't had a tournament since 1992?
Yeah.
That's when I started karate, was in early 92.
Right. It was funny enough. At that tournament, he got married. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, I've been helping him, just so people know it's going to be a good tournament. I've been helping him some, so I'll probably be coordinating the event. But yeah, man. So there's lots of cool things. We've gone on and on about tournaments and prize money, and I think just kind of observing and talking about what it's going to be like and what we can expect, right?
Let me get your take on something. I want to talk about something else, and it'll probably just lead into us talking about Virtual Fight Tour, I'm assuming. So,
yes, and here, hold on. If you don't know, we are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour, and we waited so long for it. We'll have to add an extra one on the podcast.
We're going to talk about it a bunch.
May 29th, guys. It's going to be great. Yes, make sure you go get your tickets now. Go to My Uventex. Travis, if you could put in the comments what the official website is, because I always forget, or put it on there for us, so that way we can.
In there. There's a My Uventex in there.
Go to myuventex.com and look up Virtual Fight Tour 8.
Yeah, there's a .com in there somewhere. Just mix it all together.
There we go. vfttv.myuventex.com. So,
speaking on that, Virtual Fight Tour 8 is going to come up. We're going to talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
So I was talking about where I wanted to talk about how we've seen set matches at tournaments.
What's up, Mike P?
And I feel like this would be a great time to have that. Remember when we were looking at that video? I think we might have even done a rewatchable on it. I can't remember, when Jeff Smith and Billy Blanks came out of retirement to fight at the Bermuda Open.
Yeah, that was cool.
That should have been a 3-round match.
Oh yes.
Instead, it was a 3-point match.
Yeah, and I think Jeff Smith got screwed, but that's my opinion.
It should have been a 3-round match. We should still be waiting,
talking about this
for the judges to finish the call on that one.
Yeah,
because that's what we wanted. We wanted them to go. See, think about that. This is why I love the Virtual Fight Tour as well. So in sports, okay, like right now, the NBA playoffs are going on. They have the NBA playing game going on, which I love. I think it's great, right? So
already,
if you ask your casual sports fan, whether it be baseball, basketball, when there's a game of a series that matters, a lot of them always want to see the Game 7. Game 7, baby, because it's all on the line. Right. Well, it's because they don't just want Game 7, because if all they wanted was just the one game winner, they'd just be like, well, Game 1, and then that's it. They want more of it, right?
Yeah.
Some people were talking about, well, the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers, they're in a playing game to see who can make it into the playoffs to be in the regular tournament. Or a few people talking about this should go to a Game 7. What they're really talking about is they just want to see more. We should have seen more of that, of those two fighting.
Yeah.
So
no, I like it.
But see, that the challenge is if you do that at a tournament, then you can't really have, let's say Brian and Brandon, because they're fighting in Virtual Fight Tour 8 next weekend. Okay, they're the headliner. We can't really just say, all right, Brandon and Brian, they're going to be in the set match at the end of Saturday night, but then neither one of them makes it out of their division. It feels weird, right?
Well, most of the time they just wouldn't fight. They just wouldn't fight.
And that's what you got to do. You guys got to be understood. All right, I'm going to pay you to do this. You can't fight in the tournament, right? And so but who would be good if it was literally at a tournament that would be like, all right, I'm at the tournament and I want to see them, because I think it's a little different. Yeah,
I mean there's some of that coming up soon, but I don't know. I mean, I like stories, right? So I like seeing not necessarily the passing of the torch, but maybe like someone that is a high ranked person versus maybe that person who's on their way up, you know. And I tried to do that in my tournament, you know, with at the time in the NBL, you know, Carlos Tierney was the super heavyweight, you know, and Cass was the one on his way up. And you know what? I just wanted to see them two fight because there wasn't, especially at the time, there wasn't that many people that were the same, probably bigger than Cass that could kick like he did, you know. And so we did that, you know, and that was a fun way. And it was a in some ways passing the torch, but they went at it, you know, it was fun. Something like that, you know, like I like to see.
Yeah.
That's just, to me, there's a story there to tell, right? If it's just two, or if there's been a rivalry or something, right? So
right.
we talked about this before, you know, Ryan McGriff and Willie Hicks, when Willie dropped him at Diamonds, right? And they, you know, but I think Ryan had beaten him maybe before, right? So they had kind of a rivalry. And then at Vegas the next year, they did a set fight. And it was pretty vicious. It was a great set fight. It was awesome. And it got people pumped up. You know, you did the Northern California versus Southern California. There's a lot of rivalry there, right? For years, for sure. Tons. So stories like that, you know what I mean? I think is what you need. So either a not old versus new, but you know what I mean, like the top guy now versus the up and comer, you know. Even if the up and comer doesn't win, it still puts them up, right? Like it brings them up that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about one like that, and I was thinking, you know, kind of like playing off of the same way that you were talking about. And I was thinking like Blake Spence and John Curtillo.
Okay.
You know,
in some ways. And I mean, that's a good one for both guys that are hot right now. Yeah.
Right. But look at what you just said, you know, like the seasoned guy, John, you know.
Yeah, but he's still young. And I wouldn't say he's
a dad now.
He still has a long way. Yes, but I think he still has a long ways to go. You know, they've gone against each other a lot in division and stuff. So that is a great set fight. I mean, I think it's a great one. I'm just saying it's not really the same way I would say like.
Well, I guess I didn't really have an answer.
That hasn't gone against that, huh?
I didn't really have an answer to the question. I kind of wanted to know what you thought.
I mean, again, I think the best one that BFT has done and that any tournament can do is Jack versus Bailey. And I think people are going to want to see that as many times as they can do it. You know?
Oh, yeah. But I like what Andrew just said. Andrew was talking about, I like that. He said set matches should be between people that could never potentially meet in a normal tournament setting.
That too. And that's what I mean. Like Carlos and Cass never fought before. So that's what was cool. That's what I'm saying. It can't be always the same, you know.
No.
Or maybe they've only fought once and it was at your tournament and it was a big deal and everyone got hyped up. They didn't fight again until your tournament again. Right. You know, like that's cool as well.
What was Mike saying? Yeah, but is John looking to pass the torch?
No, that's what I'm saying. He's not.
He's not gonna take that as a slight. He should take being a dad as a compliment. I don't know. I'm just feeling like, all right, maybe you could be on the way out. Who knows? I hope not. But
I don't think so. What? How old is he? 23, 24?
No.
Oh.
He's probably 27, 28.
Well, that's still young.
I mean,
he's not an extreme forms competitor. I mean, he's a point fighter. Okay, like he doesn't need to stop. All right.
That's the best thing you said all night. That's fantastic.
Just
saying. An extreme forms competitor, you might as well be 80. If you're 28, like what the frig are you, dinosaur?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
that is fantastic. Yes, that's why they all retire when they're 23.
Right.
And that's why they're all 5'4".
True. But the thing is, though, they can do stunts until they're like 40. Some of them can. Some of them are.
I suppose.
Which to me seems harder.
Right.
Yeah. But
you know what's funny on that one. So I was talking, Kyle Chambers has this podcast called, Sports Talk or
KC Sports Talk.
KC Sports Talk.
Yeah.
Fun guy. Right. I didn't know that
John's 25.
I didn't know that he wasn't a sport karate guy. And he just started getting into sport karate
through the virtual tournaments.
Through the virtual tournaments. He just kind of saw it and then got into it and then started watching all these sport karate guys and then started reaching out. And I thought, I didn't know that before we talked. He and I just talked, so he's going to have a show of he and I coming out here in a little bit. I talked about the pod.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Right. Yeah. And he was
he really enjoys the show, watching the show and stuff. So.
I could tell he was naming out like episodes. Remember on episode such and such, and I'm like, I didn't even remember what episode number that was, but all right. Yeah. And so as we were talking, I said, wait a minute now. You've been around for a cup of coffee, and you've already talked to the biggest names of sport karate. That's pretty dang cool. And he didn't mean this. I promise you. I don't think he meant this as a slight. And he goes, Alex, you were a forms competitor too. I was like, yeah, for the few years I had it, I was all right. I was pretty good. And he goes, I didn't really find anything on you. Okay, man. Listen, I wasn't making it to finals. Right? Yeah. Pump the brakes there. Right. Anthony Atkins is in my division, never beat the guy.
Right.
The best thing I ever did was beat David Douglas once. Right. Let's just put it into perspective. And I said, but the other thing is like I was like 4 to 5 inches taller and 50 to 60 pounds heavier than every guy in the division.
Right.
Right.
True.
So I was a giant compared to who's next? Steve Tarada. Right.
Pretty
guy
much.
looked like a 6th grader compared to me.
Oh man, that's so true. Yeah.
Oh, Andrew did one with him. It's a cool guy.
He's doing a lot of interviews. I did one a few months back, but I'm working with him on some things, some projects and stuff as well. So pretty cool.
He told me as we were going, he goes, he paused, and then I won't talk about it anymore. He goes, Alex, you are definitely the most energetic person I've ever talked to. He didn't say on the pod. He says, you are definitely the most energetic person I've ever talked to.
Love it.
I said, hey, listen, that's what Jeff has to deal with on a weekly basis.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Oh, man. This has been good, though, man. We've kind of just talked a lot about the prize money, where the tournaments are at, what we think it's going to happen, And I'm enjoying this conversation that we've had for the past probably 2 months because I think it's important, right? And, one thing that you and I have both talked about, let's look at internet in the next 2 or 3 minutes, but is what are some groups that we need to bring into sport karate? What are some groups we are not reaching that we could reach and get in, and bring in that have potential to not only help us grow, but to help the sport grow and that benefit from being a part of it.
When you say groups, what are you referring to? Because I got a few ideas.
Here's one that Richard Osborne and I talk about all the time. Taekwondo schools, right?
Okay, so this is where I thought you were going. I think
Taekwondo
you're right on.
Is one of the key ones because all right, here's the deal. In Taekwondo, it's so divided based on style. Each style has their own league that they run.
There's a couple things that start popping off right here.
Yeah, ITF, WTA,
ITF,
and then WTA.
And WTF.
Yep.
World of difference.
Right. And then from there, you have, other and even Tang Soo Do is
right where I was going to go in as well.
They have their own kind of thing too. So, but there's some people that don't want to deal with all that, or they're more open style, or, like they do it their way. They don't do the sine wave, but they do ITF forms without the sine wave, Where do they go? They don't necessarily have a place to go. So
right.
I think there's such a place for Taekwondo schools for us to bring them in. It used to be Taekwondo. I mean, really, without Taekwondo, sport karate wouldn't be where it was.
Exist.
But over the past 20-something years, it's kind of like they've tried to kick it out. So
it's all
and
dumb.
make it into karate. So it's really different, right? So I think that's something we can do. Really focus on that. Inviting schools to your tournament, even if you're giving them a division that maybe, because some schools they don't know what it's like to compete against what we do. So you give them a division that's different, and then maybe even give them a free seminar that's going to teach them a form that they can compete at the next tournament. I don't know. There's all kinds of options with it, right? A lot of the Taekwondo schools, they want to do board breaking. So you know what? You give them a board breaking division that is going to be something that even their young kids can do. And then that's the way to get them into your doors. Once you get them in the doors, I don't necessarily like you got them, but you have a chance to get them. You know what I mean?
Well,
so
the easy way would be,
well,
so what you're talking about actually has some really planning, because you're talking about on the form side of it. But on the fighting side, there's a lot of Tang-Soo-Do fighters decades ago that did sport karate tournaments. Really, we're saying sport karate. It really is just open.
It's sport martial arts. It's really the best. Yeah, right.
Right? Because even when we say sport karate tournaments, that itself is not very inclusive.
No, not at all.
It's not. We would just say it, right?
Yeah. So because in America, karate has become what martial arts is, right? People say, "Oh, you do karate." Well, sort of, but yeah, I mean, it's just what it's become,
It's all Fumio Demura's fault.
Right.
That's why everybody calls everything karate. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Although I love it.
But yeah, I mean, there has to be that. So I just think there's lots of ways to do it. I think some of these schools, there's ways to get them in. You just got to get out there and talk to them. But I feel like that's one. I feel like we could get way more soft style schools involved in what we do. And I think some of it is offering soft style divisions for juniors to get them involved, even if it's a separate thing, and then let them, feed them to the next one. I think there's ways to do that.
Well, actually, if the point fighting side of it shouldn't be that hard, right?
No, they're more continuous style. Like an ITF continuous is awesome.
But how many times over the years did you see a guy with a kung fu uniform out there with sparring gear?
Oh yeah.
You see it all the time, and some of them are damn good.
Yeah.
And they surprise you. You're like,
Dennis Brown School, Bam Johnson School. They're all great point fighting schools. They were great.
Right.
So
look at that. But it should be simple. It should be easy. But we have a way of being very exclusive as a group and almost just shunning those that we don't know or that don't wear the same kind of uniform or that don't kind of fall in line and do the same stuff that we do. I mean, be honest.
And then we team up and try to get them DQ'd, or we try to make them feel weird, which is messed up. And I hate that more than anything, is when competitors do that and parents do that. And I think, that was something for me. It's like with my school, it was something I always told them, hey, we are introducing and meeting these people. We're going to help these people join what we do. We want more people to keep doing what we're doing. If we don't, we're not going to get to compete anymore. We're done if we don't keep growing. So
there was this, there was a buddy of mine told me this. Actually, I think it was Hamid told me about this. There was this woman who entered the Battle of Atlanta. She drove to the Battle of Atlanta. I think she was from like Tennessee, right? She heard this Battle of Atlanta. This is the tournament to be at. She's not an ASCA member, has never been to an ASCA tournament. She just drove to Atlanta, did the Battle of Atlanta. It's like a lightweight, right? Fights, wins her first fight, and then is just waiting for her name to get called. The division, they're doing the last fight for their division, and she goes, I didn't get my name called again. They called up the person that beat her, or the person that she beat.
Yeah.
And she went on to the next round and lost, and she's like, and they're like, well, sorry, too bad, so sad. And she's like, but I didn't do anything. I'm the only one who didn't do anything wrong in this scenario.
Right.
And your solution is too bad.
Right.
Right. That's a whole martial arts school that you've just because now her school, right? They're probably can't wait to hear how her experience was, right? You've just exiled an entire school.
Yeah.
Or maybe organization. You have no idea.
Right.
But now you did that just because your answer was, too bad, so sad, right? You should be wanting to do everything you can to get this person back into it. Oh, but we don't know them. They're not the number one in the division. That's all we do. We just cater those that we like. Like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, I agree.
You know another thing? Here's another reason why I'm mad, son. Listen, if you look at the tournaments, all you see is white and black uniforms.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. If it's traditional, it's white. If it's not traditional, it's black. It's just everything. Put a little bit of color in there, right? But even for fighting, it's gotten that bad. Take a look at them all. It's like, what the frick are we talking about here? Whatever, man.
Yeah. Hey, we're bringing. Oh, Richard, you have to check it out. We talked about your favorite subject, Richard. Getting Taekwondo schools. So.
Yeah,
we talked about that, but. Yeah, man, we've had a great conversation. We talked about the NASCAR prize money. We talked about where that's going to lead, where they're messing up, where people need to get sponsors. Next week we're going to do predictions on VFT. Okay, guys, because next week is the week before that, and we'll probably have a we're going to get an interview next week. I think we need to have an interview.
So here's what I want to tell you. So this is who I wanted to interview this week.
Yeah, this is definitely.
I want to tell everybody about who I wanted to have on this week because he's not going to be able to be on for a few weeks. There's a guy named Richard Abraham. He's not a sport karate guy. He's a kickboxer. You know, he's a professional kickboxer. He's out of the general Chicagoland area. Right? He's a Glory kickboxer. This guy. He's the real freaking deal. Right? He's in Ross Levine's weight class too. So. They might end up fighting each other at some point. I mean, if they both just keep winning, and they will, right? Yeah. I mean, this guy's gym is legit, right? Love this guy. I would just touch on his story a little bit. And the only reason is because of the week that's upon us. So his gym is called Maximus Muay Thai and Fitness, right? So I'll let him tell his story. But the reason why it's called Maximus Muay Thai and Fitness is because his first son, his name Maximus. Maximus only lived 5 days, right? Okay. So Richard Abraham has a big beard, and he shaves it once a year. He keeps it shaven for 5 days, and then he grows it out the rest of the year. But this year, he's upping it to like a big deal. He's you got to run a 5.24 mile run, which is going to be horrible, right? I don't run. Yeah. But I thought I was going to do this. It's a full challenge.
Yeah.
5-day fast.
Okay.
I'm going to do this, right? Yeah. And they're all going to break fast together. There's a lot of different things in there. And so
cool, man.
It's a big deal. I really wanted him to come on and talk about it. It was going to be really, really dope. But, you know, his professional career is that good. Even like I said, even though he's not a sport karate guy, I believe everybody would love his story that much.
I think
he's just a freaking fighter. And he's just a guy you're gonna love to get around. So that's why I wanted to be on this week. Stinks.
Yeah. Well, and we also asked someone else, and we won't even say their name. We'll just say that they are fighting in VFT, and that the reason why they couldn't is because they said they're in training shape, and they are working out until past the time the show is to get ready for their fight on VFT. So hey. That's all we got to get ready because we all are ready for that fight, and we don't even say what it is.
With a B.
Yeah, and they are ready for it. So I'm excited. Get your tickets now. VFT 8, May 29th. Let's do this, guys. Thank you guys for commenting. We had a lot of fun talking with you guys. Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to hear. I want Jim. Jim, you better tell me what that pizza's like, too. I hope he really got that because now I want to lose pizza.
And Matt Nasca, bring back divisional prize money. That would be the best thing you did.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week.